Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Fans in Motion podcast, the only podcast you didn't know you needed. I say to my two friends here, look at all that I'm leaving behind. They say that I'm the Jedi of fools. And I don't care if you're changing your mind. Everybody's got to be cool. Say hello, Josh.
Jedi of Fools. I swear
How
that
timely is that reference to our
that
pre-production conversation?
Jack wrote that about me. That's how it feels. That's one of my favorite Jack Blades lines.
I think
Welcome to
Brent,
be
too.
here. Welcome to be here, Andy. Thank you.
Braintree?
Anytime you throw Star Wars in with Night Ranger, it's a win.
I seem to remember when we first heard this album, Brent calls me. He's like, dude,
Yeah.
he said Jedi on it.
Jedi of fools. I'm like,
We'll let everybody in on a little secret. There's on the new Night Ranger album. There's a song called Wookiee.
All right. Now they're going to be cutting us off, Josh. Get no more.
It's a song about our admiration for Chewbacca.
The Chewie. That, in
Yeah.
case you didn't know, it was Running Out of Time, a great song off the Don't Let Up album, and I couldn't resist it because I had that song run through my head today. So I'm back. I was gone last week, but I'm back. We're here to bring up, hey, I have a few fan. Look, I'm wearing my Veteran Hayes shirt, supporting my buddies that are playing out tonight. They're in Cincinnati. Nobody knows them, but if you're in Cincinnati, check them out.
We got with the last week's episode that you weren't on. We got a lot of complaints. A lot of people emailed me complaining that they were upset that you were going to be coming back on this week. And
they're like, the show is so much better. What did you change your hair? You're like, nope, just trim some fat.
But it's like we need that hot Night Ranger talk, so we brought Andy back. Andy, tell us what we got going on this week.
So today, this episode, we're going to be doing. I wasn't here for the interview, which I'm bummed. I really want to be part of this, but my work schedule did not work out for this interview, and it's with let me move my notepad over here because it's out of my eyesight there. Ed Repepi. Josh, tell us who Ed Repepi is.
This is a great interview, and it's going to be a great interview for the fans because Ed is the tour manager for Night Ranger. All right. When you have this, he's the guy that runs everything behind the Wizard of Oz curtain. So Andy's got a great story to go along with how he became the tour manager for Night Ranger. So it's a great interview. We get a lot of behind the scenes stories. We talk about everything that it takes to put on a Night Ranger concert. We talk about the incredible crew that they've assembled. The guitar techs and the front of the house sound, and we cover it all. So this is a great interview because again, it's going to let you see behind the curtain. So when you go to the show and that music starts and Night Ranger comes out, you really get a good idea of what it takes to get to that point. So I'm excited. I was excited to do the interview. Me and Brent had a great time talking to Ed, and and we're going to give you a little bit of an exclusive, and we'll talk about this in the interview, but tragically, Ed's brother passed away last year, and on September 8th, in Cleveland at Jacobs Pavilion, Night Ranger is going to be putting on a benefit concert in honor of his brother, Dan Repepi. And it's going to be Night Ranger. There's a local 80s band that actually had some hits and was very popular in that area called Boku that's going to be opening. And also there is an AC/DC tribute band opening as well. Nice. So you got a great lineup. And if you've never been to Jacobs Pavilion, it's one of my favorite venues that I've ever gone to. There's not a bad seat in the house. It's right on the river. So you're watching the band, and right behind him is the river, and there's boats going on behind you, and it's just a great venue if you've never been there. So September 8th, Cleveland. Keep an eye out.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say I'm going to be at that show.
Yeah, that's on a Wednesday.
That's what I was just checking my calendar, and I can middle of the week I can make that. I'm going to do everything in my powers to be there.
Yeah, that's going to be hard for me.
So all three of you that might want to say hi, I might be there.
And I plan on being there myself. So, anyways,
Brent, we can do a turn and burn, man.
There you go, man.
We've done it before.
Yeah. But I'm also 52 now, so
I'll drive this time. That way you can sleep.
There's, like I said, it's you got a lot of great stuff in this interview. Andy, take us where we at next.
Hang on. Can I ask one quick question?
No.
Because I wasn't there for it, and Brent messaged me when this was over. He's like, "Dude, you missed it." And I was like, "I know." And you don't have to tell me yes or no, but is he? I'm going to ask because maybe it's in the interview.
He's married. Yes.
Is he the guy that says, "All right, Cleveland"?
You know what? I didn't.
Okay, so that we don't know the answer. All right. Because I thought maybe that's him. I don't know. I don't know who does that.
Well, we will get your answer on next week's episode.
We'll find out.
I didn't even think about that. And
all I know is Ed Repepi's on the show tonight. He liked to pod. He podded all morning long.
Wow.
He's in control. Whoa.
I should have done Eddie's coming out tonight. Damn it.
I know. I was wondering why you didn't do it. But
God.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he potted all morning long. We got up at 9 o'clock on Sunday morning. To do this episode.
Which, for normal folks isn't a big deal.
For me.
It's like
for Brent.
It's like groundbreaking or something.
I'm lucky to be up by noon.
So
I was putting in eye drops, and I was drinking the caffeine. I was getting all ready. And yeah, Ed is a fantastic individual. You guys are going to love him.
Can't wait to watch that one.
And I can't wait. I'm just going to let part of the cat out of the bag. Wait till you see what he's going to give to you.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if that was actually recorded.
Don't.
Oh, well, he's going to give you a great show is what he's going to give to you.
This is where Josh does a transition.
Yeah. We'll figure something out. Brent,
right.
Stop talking. Andy?
So... last week's episode was the one I wasn't at also, which is
another great episode.
I'm a part-timer here on this podcast now. 7 Wishes, the singles. I was watching this episode, and it looked like you guys were surviving without me, clearly. But
barely.
Hey, when you put vinyl in Josh's hand, that's the show writes itself at that point.
It went a little quicker than we thought, so we had kind of like mid show, like, all right, we got to figure something out here. But so the last episode was just basically we discussed the 45s for the 7 Wishes releases. The 45s are always intriguing to me because they always use different artwork, as compared to the records. So that's always intrigued me, and it was fun just going through and seeing how big Sentimental Street was, because I have copies from Zimbabwe and South Africa, and the people that collect enjoy seeing the different variants. Here are 2 copies printed in the United States, but yet there's differences in them. So if you're a collector, it gives you a bigger perspective on what is out there to collect. So it went over well. I think people just like hearing anything Night Ranger. So we'll throw in those collectors episodes every couple months. But it was fun to talk 7 Wishes.
Well, what was funny was, and I don't think it made the recording, Josh, is at the beginning of the episode, I said this is episode 48, I think is what it was, and because we've never done that before. But sometimes we record 3 or 4 episodes, so we don't know which episode's going to be in which order. But when we realized we were going to go do something else, and I said, we stopped, I said, why don't we just stick with Seven Wishes or Seven Wishes 45s? I said, why didn't we do episode 45 as 45s? And Josh goes, because we ain't that fucking smart.
That is true.
Yeah.
But it would have made sense.
Damn it, Bobby.
Yeah.
The thing I thought was interesting, and I just because I don't have that memory. Brent knows that because he's been my friend forever. I didn't realize that Sentimental Street was the first single off that. I don't know what else it would have been, but I didn't recall that was the first single. And my last thing I'll say about it is, and I love this about the Seven Wishes album, is all the videos had the same storyline, through line. The stranded guys in their bomber outfits.
Not Sentimental Street.
And
I long for those days.
Well, I bring that up a little bit, that it went a little bit against, it used to be the band would release a hard rock song and then a ballad and then something else as the third single. And Night Ranger came out with the ballad, but I don't think none of the rock songs really had single potential. So I think basically they knew Goodbye and Sentimental Street were going to be hits. 4 in the Morning was going to be a single. So basically you do ballad, mid-tempo rock song, and then ballad. That, I don't know if they thought that much about it, but that is more probably the idea of how to release those. That was the pinnacle of their career. I mean, that's the high point, album sale wise, was Seven Wishes. I mean, that album just was everywhere and really cemented them, their career. I mean, Sister Christian put them on the map, and Seven Wishes, made sure that they stayed there.
Yeah, that is a great follow-up to a great hit. They didn't tank it at the next album.
It's a great follow-up, not song, but album.
Album.
I mean, you got to think, When You Close Your Eyes was released after Sister Christian. It's a top 40 hit. And then you follow Sister Christian after, When You Close Your Eyes, with 3 top 20 hit songs, one of them being a top 10.
Sure.
I mean, like I said, it's just you're able to dominate MTV in one of the most important times in MTV's history.
Yeah, in its heyday.
Yep. So, I mean, that's why they're, popular still, is because they weren't a one-hit wonder, and they just accumulated so many fans. I mean, you're part of a soundtrack to their lives. So,
absolutely,
especially when you have that many hit songs.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was a big summer for all 3 of us. Your first time seeing them, Andy and I saw them twice that week, back to back basically, and just great memories.
All right. So moving on, anything new in Night Ranger news we need to share with the world, the people? Les Nessman.
There should be some tour dates announced by the time this is released. So I'm not 100% sure, so I'm not going to say anything. But there are more tour dates coming out, but we did talk about the September 8th show in Cleveland. The M3 Festival has been rescheduled. Night Rangers playing Sunday, July 4th, actually headlining Sunday night. So there's that. And then the Nebraska show, they were playing Nebraska Friday, May 28th. That show has been canceled. They're still in Iowa and South Dakota that weekend, but the Nebraska Friday, May 28th show has been canceled. You still have the Night Ranger album. It's been done. It's completed. Looking at like a July, August, somewhere in there release date, hopefully. But other than that, a little quiet on the Night Ranger front.
Yeah, for now.
Yeah. I'm holding out for July. I believe July is going to be it.
Mm-hmm. We'll see.
I'd love to be able to go to that M3 show. I've wanted to go to that thing for so many years.
Yeah, they're headlining that Sunday night, aren't they? It's a Sunday night they're doing.
If I can catch a flight right after work, I could make that show.
I'll send my private jet to you.
That's what I'm talking about. Thank you.
And there's shows. They've got a weekend, the second weekend in July 9th, 10th, and 11th. There's 3 shows. Clear Lake, Iowa, Wabash, Indiana, and Wisconsin Dells, I think, are the 3 shows there. So there's going to be more. So sit tight. Get excited. Night
All right.
Ranger 2021.
New stuff. Anybody got anything new they want to talk about? I know Brent has something new.
What you got, Brent?
Oh. Well, I got my second COVID shot today. Got my Band-Aid on. But I think Andy's talking about the shirt.
Oh yeah.
Is that what you're talking about, Andy?
I am talking about that cool.
What was
shirt,
great was I designed the shirt, and I asked my wife, I'm like, does this look cool? And she's like, yeah, that looks really good together. And so I ordered it, and I sent Andy. I said, just bought this, and Andy's like, I want that. I said, give me your. Like, you got a credit card?
Yeah, credit card.
Got a credit card. Hey, he's got a credit card.
There you go, poser.
So Andy entrusted me with his credit card information, and I went into my account, ordered the stuff for him, and his shirt was supposed to be there today as well. We were going to be the Doublemint twins today.
Yeah, mine did not arrive, but I just think that's cool because it's as close as you can get to the Jack Blades teal blazer.
That's exactly right.
That is so freaking cool, and I love the color in the Fans in Motion logo.
I told you that's my Kiss Alive 2.
Kiss Alive 2.
That's what that is. Kiss Alive 2. They're how it fades. And they have yellow around it. That's where the inspiration came. Well, it's when we did Tom Shannon. That's where it came from.
So
there you guys go. We got a and it does look good. I mean, not on you, but the shirt.
I can take it off.
Hey, listen,
chicken brown cow.
You've already seen that image, haven't you? You can't get it out of your head.
We have. Thank you.
I walked into the camera one day with no shirt on just to see what they do.
Yeah, it was.
It was great. It was a great tension.
I almost broke my laptop slamming it closed. Josh, do you have anything new you want to share with anybody?
I do.
Just to get us away
from
Brent taking
the
shirt off.
I threw up my mouth a little bit. So I came across this. I had never seen it before. It's a Dawn Patrol CD.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's printed. It's from that Bellophone label in
Germany.
West Germany. So it's probably printed somewhere in the late 80s. It's got a different back, so there's.
Yes, it does.
There's the back. I'd never seen that back before.
It says Boardwalk on it too.
It does, and the CD.
Wow.
Says Boardwalk, and they've got actually some art for the booklet, and it's the lasers. See the laser beams coming down and the song titles. Now the inside, there's just advertisements for top mid-price CDs, and so there's that. But I just the lasers and just the Boardwalk and just the different back. I'd never seen one before, so paid a little bit more than I probably would for something like that, but it's one of those things I've never seen before, so you better get it while you can.
Now, riddle me this, Josh, man. The CD came out in, 84, 85? Not that CD. I'm meaning to the public when you can start purchasing CDs. The album came out in 82. And by the time CDs were made, they were already on MCA or Boardwalk was defunct. So why the hell do you think that says Boardwalk?
Don't know. I cannot.
You think somebody just made a mistake?
Well, I don't. I think it depends more. I mean, it's not tech. I mean, it's.
Is it burned from a Boardwalk album? Like, is the sound quality shitty?
Well, I can't say I actually have listened to it yet, but
and they just copied it.
It is. Now it's not Boardwalk. It's really Bellophone Records. I don't know. I can't tell. I just don't know. But
then again, it was no different than Mercury Polygram.
Well, hold on. So this came out in Dawn Patrol came out in 1982.
Right.
All right. Look there.
1983. So, but that makes no sense.
That makes sense if 1983 they are still on Boardwalk Bellophone in Europe and they haven't quite got to MCA yet. Because Boardwalk, the album's released on Boardwalk, in November of '82, and they're on Boardwalk for a while before it goes to Funk. So if this is printed in early '83, this would still be before MCA.
Could it have been? When did CDs come out?
But CDs came out 84, 85.
No, the first CD was available in Europe in 1979. I could actually tell you the dude's name if you give me a second. But
so in theory, they could have just pressed it over there.
Yeah, it was on
burned it.
Philips Magnavox was the kind of the label because they were the first ones to release
Philips,
it.
They had all the plants. Philips did initially.
So it was classical music. I can't think of the guy's name, but the CD is actually worth something because it's the first CD ever produced. But it was classical music. It's on Philips Magnavox, but it was 1979. So, over in Europe, the first U.S. CD I think was Bruce Springsteen.
Mm-hmm.
But Europe was doing CDs before the U.S. So I guess this might be in 1983.
Might be the first. Then.
I don't know.
That's crazy. That is wild, wacky
and
stuff.
You just found it by accident, didn't you?
I don't know what made me even look at it because if you just look at it like this, it's every record you ever seen. But somehow I saw the back, and I'm like, well, I've never seen it like that before. The other thing that we have,
Josh, real quick. So, do you find those on eBay or is that Discogs, or do you have your sources you don't want to talk about?
It can be any. It could be eBay, Discogs, record shows, record shops. I know. So,
well, that's what I'm saying. So, anybody that's actually listening to this and is curious, how do you do searches like that? Not to get totally off topic, but do you just type in Night Ranger, Dawn Patrol, different pressings, or do you just
type in
Dawn
Night
Patrol
Ranger
and start
and
searching them?
Take a gander and see, if something catches your eye, really.
And it really depends on how you type it in. Because, for example, I had a friend asking me how much something was worth, and I said it ain't worth anything. And then another friend chimed in with a link, and these things were selling for whatever, and I chimed in with the link that I typed it as from eBay. And mine had 58 listings, no sales.
Right.
And it just depends on how you type it in.
Gotcha. Right.
The other thing I have, a lot of Night Ranger fans are also Styx fans, and so I got our buddies at Culture Factory. The vinyl is beautiful. I got the Styx Cornerstone record by them.
That looks nice, man.
It's a unique record. If you ever find the version from the 70s, the album, the back part actually unfolds like a folder, and the album comes out. It's unique. So they didn't do it like that, which is good because wasn't a big fan of that. But they made it a gatefold. So it's the gatefold with the glossy front, the obi strip, and then you have the sleeve, which this sleeve was the back part of the record when you pulled it out, and then you have the
I love that.
Red vinyl.
That red is awesome looking.
And you got the custom label there. So if you're a Styx fan, there you go. Cornerstone, not my favorite Styx album, but I thought
you got to have it.
I unfortunately do. So they have that. So Culture Factory's done Pieces of Eight, which is a great album. Then they did Paradise Theater, but that was a record store day exclusive, so you're only going to get that on the secondary market somewhere between $30-$35. And 20 years ago I liked Paradise Theater. It's not one of the albums that have aged well for me. But
you're not rocking the Paradise anymore.
And then Cornerstone, again, nah. But you can't go wrong with Styx, Pieces of Eight, Grand Illusion, Equinox. Good stuff. Edge of the Century, good album too.
Nice.
Kilroy was here, But there you go. So there is my Night Ranger new stuff. Brent, take
Speaking
us.
of Culture Factory, I want to say something.
No,
Yeah.
Night Ranger's no longer listed on their website. So,
probably
like I
because
said
probably has
before,
something to do with you.
it has nothing to do with me. So
A
whatever's
restraining order
out there,
came through.
folks, whatever's out there for the Midnight Madness and for the Dawn Patrol is whatever's left.
Snatch
They're
them up.
done. So I keep checking I check weekly to see if their name pops back up because that only means a new release. So keep your fingers crossed. Okay.
Brentry, anything from the fans in motion?
I got a lot of names here tonight because the page has been so active this week. You all
Dude, this
impressed the
last
hell out of me.
month has been going nuts.
It has been. I mean, we've grown by 1,000 people in a month, I think it was.
Well, I guess that's something that we should discuss. We hit 4,000 members.
Yeah.
So
I am-
4,000 dedicated Night Ranger fans.
I am blown away by how this thing is growing. I don't know how you guys feel, but I mean, I sit there and I look at the number and I'm like, I remember just having a conversation with you guys about this, and
Oh, I think
And
it was
now it
last
seems-
episode.
yeah, and it's just like it just keeps getting bigger, which is what we want. We want this band to still be relevant and people to still keep listening, and it's happening.
The page
Yeah.
is doing good in spite of Brent.
Yeah. Inspired me. Thank you very much.
Brent, give
But,
us some fans in motion news.
Jonathan Buckley, man, he has been off the hook this week.
Yeah.
He's been posting all these promo 8x10s,
Yeah.
a Japanese tour book, I think some bumper stickers, and I was thinking when I kept seeing the 8x10s in the queue to be approved, I'm thinking, dude, if you just put all those in one post, but you know what?
Yeah.
It's cool. But yeah, you've been off the hook with that stuff. Some great promo photos I hadn't seen in a long time, especially the one that they used for the Greatest Hits album cover. Thought it was really cool.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
James Gillen, you get a shout out just because I loved your Big Life album display that you did.
Yes.
'Cause everybody in this group knows I love, or this podcast knows how much I love that album.
Yeah.
So, James Gillen, anytime you post Big Life, I'm gonna shout your name out. And this came close. This I had already. Well, I'll give it away in a minute. But Randy Vukovic posted a video which I'm calling Japan Ranger. I mean, how that did not make you smile
Yeah.
to see somebody who didn't speak a word of English. Probably I didn't watch it from beginning to end, but the man did what he could to learn what English words were in the songs,
Yeah.
and to sing them. And I'm sitting back and I was wanting to be there, and I'm checking out that girl playing drums, and she was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I loved how they all had some kind of American thing on, on their body, some kind of shirt, It's really cool stuff. Andy, I know you enjoyed it, and I saw Josh's face, so I'm sure he enjoyed it.
Oh, I watched. I was loving every minute of it, man. And like
That's
you, I was
Loverboy.
loving that the girl was playing all the Seven Wishes parts on the drums, and
She was
I'm
good.
well, and we'll maybe talk about this in another episode. But I love how Japan loves Night Ranger.
Yeah.
And maybe
Yeah.
we get to talk to the guys. Maybe they can give us some insight on how big they really are in Japan.
Ed's got a great Japan story at the
Yep.
end of the episode, so
Oh, great! I can't wait.
he's got a fantastic Japan story, Andy. You're gonna love it. So yeah, so we kind of got that part covered already. You didn't know it, but Tom Chapin, he won the page this week, folks. He had his rumors in the air. Your other source for hot Night Ranger talk post. God, it was. I had tears in my eyes. I was laughing so hard,
Yeah.
It was great. I was waiting for him when I saw the girl looking out the window. Angie from When You Close Your Eyes. Angie sues. What's the blinds called? What What kind of blinds are this called?
Vertical blinds. Venetian blinds?
No. The brands. It's
I
like a
don't
brand
know.
name.
Anyway.
She sues blind company because sun came through and blinded her. Whatever. It was just perfect tabloid stuff. But he didn't write that, but that's what I was thinking. I'm like, oh, you could have done that. That was cool. But we had Steve Romig. He posted a couple really bad cover versions of songs that made me wanted to scream, but it was fun hearing it. Then you have, Sarah Griffith. She's fantastic. Robin Ludite, Kathy Kirkman Lane, Ed Hochstatter. Ed, I have to mention Ed because I posted that picture of me in high school with my Night Ranger sweatshirt on. I found, and it's posted a picture of him, and he had calling for other people posting pictures when they were younger wearing Night Ranger shirts. It was great. I've got a picture of myself actually standing at the urinal in the bathroom taking a piss. And my buddy walked in from the yearbook staff and just snapped a picture, and the picture something like this. And if I find it, I may share it or I might hold it up. It'll be a podcast exclusive.
There you go.
Yeah, Ed took that ball and he ran with it. It was great. And Natalie, and if I say your name wrong, is it Kewling?
Sounds good.
She posts a bunch of stuff. So I mean, and that's not detracting away from what everybody else is doing as well. I can't say everybody's names, but we love you all. Thank you very much. This fans emotion thing just makes me smile every day I get onto it. So thanks everybody.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I'll do it probably the next episode. We got the Bronx Boy Ace Frehley contest that was going on. Tom Shannon from the Rockologist gave us. So I'll do that next week. And then I also wanted to mention on Fans of Motion, Lance Rushing posted the Billboard rankings for the Seven Wishes singles as well.
So I need to write that down too.
Yeah, so that was really good. And if we missed you, we apologize. You may find this hard to believe, but I'm merely human. So the contest we're going to do this week is from our buddy Dwayne Vickers, or is Brent
Night Doinger.
Yep. So he made these like luggage tags and sent, I think, Andy one, and
I got mine right here.
He sent one to me to give away. So that is what we are going to do on this episode.
I should have won it because I turned it down. I told him I didn't want to just when people offer you stuff, you just don't. You feel so bad about taking it, but it was so cool. But I don't ever travel. But I will be this summer.
I did. So I told Josh off the camera that I went away for a couple of days, and I actually used it as my luggage tag.
Did you?
I did. I took a picture, sent it to him. I was like, "Hey, man, I just want you to know, I wanted it because I want to use it because I want people to see that when I'm walking through an airport or at a hotel or whatever." So
they're like Brad Gillis looks like shit.
God, he's really let himself go.
So here we go. We got the bag tag, and we will do a contest. I will just tell you basically. I should think of this shit before we actually do the podcast. Put me on payroll. So let's just do something where leave a comment on the YouTube page and just post something interesting that you thought from Ed's interview. What was your favorite story, or just what did you learn about parts of the crew? Just post something, and I'll put you in the damn drawing. And if you live in the damn continental United States, this may show up at your door. So there you go. Thank you, Dwayne, for donating that. I will tell Dwayne in person when you see this on Tuesday. I'm flying Friday to Houston to go to the Night Ranger show Saturday. So I know Dwayne's going to be there. Lance Rushing is going to be there. John Haynes is going to be there.
Chris Lyons is going to be there.
Will be there in some capacity. And
signing autographs on $20 bills.
I will be doing that. The Josh Weaver? Yes, the Josh Weaver will be in Houston. And I plan to stay for the whole show. So there we go. That baggage tag looks even better in person. So it's not even.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks good on the screen, but I can tell you, it even looks better when you have it in your hands. So, Andy, take us into this week's episode.
All right, everybody, sit back, enjoy a nice interview that I wasn't part of. I'm a little jealous of, but like Josh said earlier, you're getting behind the curtain scenes and stories of the great, mighty Night Ranger with Ed Repepi.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Fans in Motion, the Ultimate Night Ranger podcast. And today we're kind of going behind the curtain of the Night Ranger tour machine and bringing you the Night Ranger tour manager, Ed Repepi.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. That's my first try of saying that last name. Ed, thank you for joining us. And
Morning, gentlemen. How are you all?
We are good here on a Sunday morning. Brent probably hasn't seen 10 a.m. on a Sunday morning since
my daughter was 10.
So
I'm shocked. Yeah, I'm like, I gotta do 10. I gotta travel today, and they're like, okay. I was like, all right, you guys really mean this, so.
Well, I'm dedicated when it comes to all things Night Ranger. But Ed, thanks again for joining us. The great thing about this podcast is we bring you every angle of the Night Ranger world, and this is a first because, like I said, we're kind of going behind the curtain and giving you guys a little peek of what will go on setting up a Night Ranger show and Ed's responsibilities and some of the other members that make these shows that when you go see them, they just don't magically happen. There's a lot of hard work behind it. And me and Ed have talked previously, and he's got a great rock and roll story as well as how he came into this position. But most importantly, it all starts out. Does it start out with you being a Buckeye?
I'm a Buckeye. Cleveland, Ohio, rock and roll capital of the world.
So where were you born and raised?
Born in Cleveland, raised in the mean street suburbs of Seven Hills, and now I live in Independence. Okay. So all greater Cleveland.
So
I lived in Las Vegas for like 5 years, but other than that, my job took me there at one time.
So you grew up a Browns and Indians fan?
Yes, and don't bust my balls because your Tigers threw a no-hitter. So
well, Tigers are like my second favorite team. I grew up a Reds, and I would assume Brent as well. Reds and Bengals, which we don't have much to ride you on. But I think we can find common ground in our hate for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, most definitely.
Oh,
and
yeah, there you go.
Ravens, even the Ravens. So.
Yeah. Well, especially the Ravens for you.
Yes, for me, yes. I know. And it's funny. My best friend, Mike, who I met 20 years ago or so, and my daughter's godfather, diehard Ravens fan. And like 2 years before the Ravens, transferred over there, I met him. Or I'm sorry, 2 years after they transferred over there. He's a diehard Ravens fan, and I'm like, I met him in line at a buffet at Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, and I'm like, he's like, yeah, thanks for your team. We won a Super Bowl. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
So we have a very hateful relationship when it comes to Brown season. So
now, growing up in Cleveland, I would assume early on you were probably, were you issued Michael Stanley records? Like when you.
It was like a cult a phenomenon. It was my first concert.
Yeah. My
brother and sister took me to it. I was at Blossom Music Center, and I'm looking at 18,000 people. I'm like, holy moly, this is something, And but I remember them telling me stories. I went to Padua High School in Parma, Ohio, and it was like a rock legendary place for bands to play in their gym. and the James Gang, Michael Stanley. I can't even tell you. I mean, a litany of bands.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother's like, "Oh yeah, we went to Padua, saw Michael Stanley," and I'm like, "Get out of here!" So I'm coming there my freshman year. I'm like, this is where Michael Stanley played. So.
Yeah. Now, did you see a lot of shows at like the Agora?
Some shows at the Agora. My main was either the Richfield Coliseum, Blossom, even the front row. I don't know if you guys remember that, or I know you're Buckeyes, but the front row was about, I'm going to say 2,000 to 5,000 people. It was in the round. The stage moved in a circle.
Really?
So I had to go. My mom took me to Dolly Parton and Wayne Newton because my dad had to work. But I think I was just a sacrificial lamb that night.
So I guess during my time, I'm obviously a little bit younger. There was a club up there called Peabody's.
Yeah, and that was more like progressive rock and harder rock than I was really into.
Okay.
But and then it became what was the next one over there? The Odeon was a big.
I remember the Odeon.
Yeah, and then the Odeon just rebuilt again, like across the street, and it's a really cool venue. I saw Lita Ford there about 2 years ago. It was a really cool venue.
All right, so the Odeon isn't right there on that kind of corner anymore.
It's across the street.
It's across the street. The first time, in a little Night Ranger connection with Cleveland, the first time I ever saw Carrie Kelly was at Peabody's. He was playing with Slash, maybe 2000, 2001, one of the best concerts I've ever seen. A small little club, and there was 150 people there, and they were tight. So you're growing up in Cleveland. Talk about your family a little bit.
Well, my family owns funeral homes here in Cleveland.
All right.
So when I was young, I'd be in the garage washing cars, and my dad threw me a 20, and I thought it was the best thing possible. Now I'm like, man, that was manual labor. That was harsh. But we have two funeral homes, one in the Cleveland area, one in Middle Heights area. So family run. My brothers still run it, and it's a big responsibility taking care of someone's loss, their loved ones.
So even growing up as a kid, that was your father's business.
Yeah, it was 1947. My dad started it.
All right. And it's still going today. You said your brother.
Still going today. Yeah, my brothers. I had 3 brothers in the business. One brother passed away, and now it's my 2 brothers now.
Okay.
Yeah, you can plug it here. You can plug it here if you like.
Repepi and Sons Funeral
Home. So how
first time that marketing scheme has gone over this kind of problem.
How good.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to. If you would have known Andy in high school, Andy's wish was to get a hearse and drive his prom date to prom. Swear to God, he wanted a hearse all his teenage years. You would have been.
My dad was so pissed off, man. He was like, "What is that thing doing out there?" I mean, he was just old school, ethical and all that stuff, and he was an innovator in the industry. And oh yeah, he would be pissed.
Sorry.
Well, it's funny you bring that story up, Andy, because my stepdad told me a story once where his buddy was like a carpenter, and he bought a hearse to carry the long pieces of wood that he would need. So he said they would, this is again 40 years ago, they'd be in the front seat drinking beer, and and people would be driving by, pulling off the side of the road, but yet they're just hauling lumber, and they'd hold up their beers and stuff. So everybody, I guess, has a hearse story. So is anything, does that, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, you kind of have a different look on things, maybe, because my family comes from my grandfather was a caretaker at a cemetery for and his father was, so my grandmother and my grandmother was born and raised at a cemetery. My parent, my mom, that's where they went every summer. And some of my first memories are being up at that cemetery. So you kind of have a different look or a different feel about, I guess.
I think the biggest thing I can say is that I was always dad when we all went out in high school and college. I was like the over responsible one because I've seen it all, and it can end in a heartbeat. And I've seen what smoking can do to you. I've seen what blow can do to you, and I've seen what alcohol can do to you inside view, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it just kind of built the foundation. I'm not some,
You're not indestructible.
Yeah, but and then and just I'm a responsible person, and kind of rolls into my job now, where it's the safety and security of the band and crew are my first priority. So it's kind of been my mantra all my life.
Yeah. So you got your family, your dad has this funeral home.
My brothers are running it. By 18, my brothers are running it. My dad's kind of relaxing a little bit.
Now, are you planning on going in when you're younger? Where are you wanting to go with your life?
Well, at one point, my brother was like, "Oh, I'm going to invest in this restaurant." And I was like, "Restaurant? Oh, this sounds good." Yeah, I'm looking at the blueprints and I'm going over it. Mind you, I never cooked a day in my life in a professional restaurant setting through high school. I always just worked at the funeral home, played football, played baseball. So it was like, it was a good, easier job to do with scheduling and all that. So I ended up going to culinary school. I ended up going to college and flunked my first cooking class because I never knew what to do,
Yeah.
instead of making a scrambled egg at home or something. And so then I realized, okay, do I really want to do this? And I did. I continued it, and I did well, and started opening up restaurants. And for 20 years, 25 years, I had restaurants. Owned my own restaurant for the past 20 years and sold it 2 weeks before COVID hit.
Really?
Wow.
Somebody was looking after me, that's for sure.
Well, let's go back to your first restaurant you opened. It was
called Peppers. It was a little family-owned place, or I owned it, obviously, in North Royalton, Ohio. And I should have took my dad's advice and went and worked for a major corporation first instead of trying to endeavor the hardest industry in the world at 20 years old, when my mom had to own the liquor license because I wasn't old enough to own the liquor license.
Wow.
But I had a dream, I had a chip on my shoulder, and I learned a lot.
Mm-hmm. And so now, do you still? Now you said you sold the one.
Then I sold that. I moved to Vegas, went to go work for the Hard Rock Corporation.
Okay.
And then came back home in 1998. We opened up the Hard Rock here. I ran that one, and then decided it was best to go back and owning my own place again. At that point.
So this is just personal for me. One of my favorite meals was actually on the Hard Rock menu. It was Joe Perry's chicken quesadilla. And when they took that off the menu, if you got any pull with them still, I want you to call them, okay? It was like a mango sauce, Joe Perry's mango sauce, chicken, pineapple. If any of my close friends...
There's a reason why that was pulled if that's what was on the menu, because that wasn't even on the menu when I was there.
Well, it was on there from probably 2000.
That was after I left.
All right. Well, I still want you to pull
that's
some
like
strings.
Pineapple on a pizza. That's like illegal.
Oh,
no.
dude.
I agree with you.
Well, listen,
Okay.
Joe Perry from Aerosmith gave it the okay. That's all I'm going to end with. But
Well, we're getting a Hard Rock in Cincinnati now.
Are you
We're
really?
finally, yeah, they're opening. They bought a casino a year ago, and they're changing it over right now. And my wife said, I would want to go, but now they have Angus, or they had Angus the last time we went to a Hard Rock. Angus doesn't agree with me. I can't eat, And
well, they unfortunately took the one here out of downtown. They had the Roxino out in Northfield, and then MGM bought it. So now the Rock and Roll Capital World has no Hard Rock Cafe. So.
Oh, really? You lost the one by Gundarina, huh?
Yeah,
that one
or whatever it's called.
Yeah. Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So that went, and then they had the Roxino out at in Northfield, right around the corner from my house. Beautiful complex, amazing room. The Hard Rock Live venue there was amazing.
Yep.
And then MGM bought it, and they just shut it down. So now it's an MGM and whatever their stuff is.
Yeah, because the Hard Rock was kind of like what you said, Brent, down there by the arena in some kind of like a mall.
It was Tower City Center.
Tower City Center.
You know everything, Ed. That's great. We just know, it's by here.
Yeah.
So I remember going in there right before when Kiss got back together.
Yeah.
And we all piled in that
now
place.
is that Tower City Center, how's that faring with, like the whole mall thing kind of I mean, I was wondering if that was
know
one of the
how much retail is down there. I mean, the Ritz-Carlton's still attached to it. Morton's is attached to it. The other good steakhouse there closed, so
yeah.
just it's COVID. But
Okay.
I would say the retail end is probably not blistering.
Yeah. Is there used to be a like right across the street and then down, you know, where the river is, there used to be a rock venue down there outdoors. Do they still
It's still there?
Still
Jacob's
there?
Pavilion. It was Scene Pavilion back in the day, and now it's Jacob's Pavilion.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you're owning these restaurants. You know, you got your brothers running the funeral home business. You live in Vegas for a while. Life is good. You got a little bit of extra scratch in your pocket, and you would have to tell me the exact year. But they start creating these things called rock and roll fantasy camps.
Correct.
And
2002, right? 9/11 was 2001, correct?
Yep.
So 2002, because it was like the first time I traveled after 9/11. February, I believe it was Martin Luther King Day weekend, maybe something like that.
So
I think it was.
That'd be January then of January of 2002.
So I think it might have been February. So
Okay.
President's Day weekend, I don't know, something
Yeah.
like that. One of the holiday Monday, weekend.
So was it out in California?
Yeah, it was in LA. So I'm just reading Rob Report or DuPont Registry. I'm paging through it, and I'm like, oh, what's this? And it's Bret Michaels and Vince Neil, and it says Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, and I'm like, I'm there.
So
I'm there. You know, I mean, that was my two bands growing up.
Let's go to 2002. Is that your number one genre of music? Is 80s rock? I mean,
yeah,
and
it still is.
And who were your go-tos?
Poison, Bon Jovi, Motley Crue,
Kiss,
Guns N' Roses. You know,
Yeah.
I did. That was still my era, all the way through the 90s, and even now today, my iTunes goes more towards that than it does anything else.
So you see this and you see that there's going to be a member of Poison and Vince Neil.
Done.
Yeah.
Yep. And Carmen a piece, and I play drums. So.
There you
Oh, so do I.
Yeah.
There you
Everybody
go.
we have on here is a drummer.
Oh, yeah. It'd be nice.
Kelly
It'd be
plays
nice.
drums,
Yeah.
You know, I had him on one time or another.
It'd be nice to actually get a musician on sometime. But
Oh.
We had Joe Hoekstra.
yeah, we did. So you decide that you're going to fly out there. This was like the first one, right? The first rock.
It might have been the second one, but it was the first like big one they had. I think they had a couple little ones that they sampled out and tried.
Okay.
But this was the big one, the first big one.
All right.
And I'm like one of the youngest ones there. There was one kid there, like this one young kid drummer, one young kid guitarist, but I was like the youngest after all these hedge fund owners and insurance brokers and just all these like big money people that I did not deserve to be next to, you know. But I could play the drums better than they could play the guitar, so I was good.
So I picture you like, you know, getting ready, you know, for this rock and roll fantasy camp. Like you got your look what the cat dragged in record, and you're like putting on the eyeshadow. Like, are you like? That's what I'm picturing you getting really ready for this. But
no, not the eyeshadow, but I definitely got ready. You know, I actually shipped drum heads out there just to have them sign those instead of like trying to bring like a bunch of memorabilia. So I just shipped some drum heads out to the hotel ahead of time, so I wasn't carrying them, and they were there when I got there, and you know, went from there.
Walk us through that experience and how it leads to everything.
You walk in, you know, you're already prepaid. So you walk in, you show them your confirmation numbers, and they give you a lanyard and you know, kind of a swag bag, you know, duffel bag. It was a Marshall duffel bag, probably one of the best duffel bags I still own today. It is so strong and big, and it was a Marshall amp head that was a duffel bag. It was really cool.
Yeah.
So I had that, and you know, some swag, and all the sponsors sent you something and all that, and I get in line to audition. So they want to see your level of play. And here's where I meet two guys from Maryland. And that's one of them turns out to be Mike, one of my best friends, and my daughter's godfather. And the other one is this guy, John, who we're still very good friends to this day. and he busts my balls about how we lost to Ravens and they won the Super Bowl, and I proceed to tell him to go F off, and we've been nonstop since then. So we're in the buffet line, and then they're gonna play. Now these two guys are mid-40s and never just picked up the guitar, so it's not like they grew up with a guitar in their hand or anything like that, and they're barely can pull off Smoke on the Water.
Wow.
So I get up there and I gotta play "Give Me Some Lovin'" with Liberty DeVito watching me.
Oh.
With God, who was the one guitar player? Elliot, was it Elliot Easton that year? I'm not sure, but it was somebody of substantialness, And then who was the guy, the original founder of Grand Funk Railroad?
Mark Farner.
Mark Farner.
Yeah.
I didn't know Mark Farner from nothing. I didn't realize what a virtuoso he really is. So I just started playing, and a couple of guys couldn't keep up, and I'm like, I know I'm not going fast. It's a 4/4 beat. Let's go. And I'm hitting the cowbell, and so I end up being in Liberty's band. I think he just snatched me right up because I could keep a beat, and the other two guys went in some other band and whatnot. And we'll see you around, over the course of time. So one of the counselors is the Jack Blades, and I was like, "Hey, nice to meet you. Introduce myself. Enjoy your music. That kind of thing." Not, And so we started just. He wasn't my counselor; he was somebody else's counselor. But just, hey, nice to see you again, Jack. See you later. Blah 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 blah. So we get through the week. We're playing every day nonstop for like 9 hours, and then they'd bring in Brent, and then you'd have to learn a song. So I got to sing "Every Rose Has a Throne" with Brent, and no one else knew the song because I had a bunch of older guys in my band. So I'm the one singing it, and I can't sing. And then Vince Neil came up and did a one-on-one question, and the stories and all the TVs falling out of the windows and all that kind of stuff. We heard all that, and then they played. They had this all-star band, and then they all played, and then. The last night there before we played at the House of Blues. Mm-hmm. The last night before we played there, these two guys, John and Mike, we went out to dinner, and we went out to Spago, Wolfgang Puck's restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And Jack and I are going back to the hotel on the shuttle, and I'm like, "Hey, Jack, I know you're by yourself, but do you want to come have dinner with three of us? We're just going to go eat." And he's like, "I'm kind of tired. Where are you going?" We're going to Spago. Spago, I'll be down in 15 minutes because you couldn't get a table. And I knew Wolfgang Puck through my restaurant worlds and stuff. And I was able to get a table. So I'm like, all right, cool. We'll see you down here in 15 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever it was. Come down. We're waiting for Jack. And I'm like, hey, Mike, hey, John, Jack Blade's going to come with us to dinner. And they're like, come on. I'm like, yeah, I just asked him to come. So we get in this big excursion, rental car that John had. And we start driving down Sunset to go to Horn Avenue, and by the old Tower Records is where the old Spago was, and Jack's telling us stories and this, that, and the other. And a backstory to the whole thing was Jack tells Molly, "Yeah, I'm gonna go have dinner with these campers. They invited me to have dinner. I will go and have some fun. Just tell them a few stories, and I'll go back to my room." So Molly's reaction was, "You're going to dinner with campers?" And that's our inside joke because our wives, my wife. Mike's wife, they're all tight. They're all good friends. I mean, we've been to, we went to James's wedding. We went to Jack's 50th birthday. So the big thing is we went to dinner with campers. And it was kind of exciting. So we go have dinner, and we're just cracking them. My mouth hurt me just from smiling and laughing, just hearing the stories. And so we leave, and that's the year the Osbournes were really big on MTV.
Mm-hmm.
So we're leaving, going down Sunset Boulevard again, back to our hotel. And Jack's like, "Oh, we should go see Ozzy." Well, back then that excursion was a big truck back then, right? John does a 360 in the middle of Sunset Boulevard. Where are we going? And Jack's like, "Bro, I'm kidding. We can't go to this house." So it was fun. We had a good time. And then when we were getting ready to leave, after we all finished up the whole camp, Jack's like, "Hey, you're from Cleveland, right?" I said, "Yes." He goes, "We're playing in Cincinnati." He had an all-star thing put together for one of the campers for a fundraiser. And I'm like, "All right, I'll come down, So I came down, saw him. He's like, "Hey, we're playing in Cuyahoga Falls." They weren't playing at Blossom, but they were playing at a festival. He's like, in like 3 weeks, why don't you come? I said, okay, cool. And he's like, here, take my number down. And I'm like, Taylor, you know what I mean? I'm like, okay, I'll never give this out. You know, going through the whole like, I'll never give this number out. I'll always call you if I won't bother you. He's like, relax, man. Just, you know, I like you, and you're good. You know, I'm like, all right. So like 2 days before the show, I text him. I'm just like, hey, you know, I don't know if texting was around then yet. I called him, and I'm like, hey, I'm planning on coming to the show. Do I need to do anything? He goes, no, your name will be on the will call list. Just come, you know, come see us, and we'll hang out. Okay, no problem. Go do my thing. So, and here I am, like walking around the entire stage, taking pictures during the show, and you know, he acknowledged me during the show and all that. So it was really cool. So that started my world getting to know Jag Blaze. So that we met, and then 4 times we went to this rock and roll fantasy camp, and the last time we went, Jack hosted it. And we had Tony, gosh, I can't remember his name. He was a weatherman, Tony Stewart. And it was like, you know how the Good Morning America has like, where's so-and-so at this day or whatever. So this guy was part of our band. It was me, Mike, and John. And they called us the Fourples because we went to the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp 4 times in a row. And we ended up being on Good Morning America. We had to stay there an extra day. And they kind of revealed where he was all week. So it was a fun time. It was a fun time.
Now, were you a Night Ranger fan before meeting Jack?
I was a Motley Crue and Poison fan. No.
Yeah, he never settled. I was waiting. That's why I kept saying Kiss, because I was waiting for the Night Ranger to come out.
Yeah, I never really. I'll be honest with you. I never owned a complete Night Ranger album at that point, but I had hits from the heart, so not like Sentimental Street and Sister Christian was on that one, and I had some other montage, you know, the wows, you know, the now fives, now ones, whatever, and it had like Rockin' America and something else on that one. So
So you had the compilation.
Never had a complete album or a CD.
So you got this relationship with Jack.
Time out. I did have a Damn Yankees album because I liked Styx growing up with my brothers and Ted Nugent. So okay, go back.
So you did have the Damn Yankees album, which we are actually getting ready to do a Damn Yankees episode where we do the album focus.
Runaway's my favorite song.
Runaway is a good one. I love the little guitar intro at the beginning.
I like the chorus. I think their chorus sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's we were just discussing what was the most Night Ranger sounding song on that record, and I came up with Tell Me How You Want It. To me, that was the most Night Ranger sounding track on that. And it was great that Jack's actually been playing a little bit of Come Again on the last couple of tours.
I have an amazing video of him last year when we played maybe Biloxi, and the sound was amazing. And I had to play it back to him. I'm like, listen to your voice. It was just epic, you know? And he was like, we got to keep doing that, you know? And so it did. It sounded amazing.
You know, that's the one thing about him. When he hooked up with Tommy Shaw, the harmonies those guys hit, it was amazing.
Yeah. And
it was amazing.
After almost 40 some years with Night Ranger, they still all can pull it off.
Absolutely right.
But and again, the secrets behind the curtain, more or less, of how they take care of themselves day of show, day before the show, and then just their everyday lives helps.
And that's we're going off a little bit, but that's what I tell people, like, very rarely do you have a band who has one of their best decades this late in their career. And what is so great about Night Ranger in the last 10 years is, number one, they've put out 3 great studio records. So a lot of times you get studio records from these bands you like, and you're happy if you get 1 or 2 or 3 good tracks, where they have put out great albums. And you know, it's something you don't really like to think about or talk about, but they all still look cool. Right. You know, and that's part of like taking care of yourself. Like what you were saying is, you know, I can take my stepdaughter and go see him, and it's not like I'm watching, you know,
Grandpa.
It's like, okay, they're older, but man, they're still kicking ass, and you're still proud to see them up there.
And just not because I work for them, but the energy they deliver is sometimes intimidating to other bands that have to follow.
I'm sure.
Yeah. And
I saw them open for Loverboy a couple years ago up in Dayton, Ohio. And it was a double bill. They both, I think, had equal time, but Loverboy had no business following Night Ranger. No business. I mean, I'm a huge Loverboy fan, and I was bored when they were on because.
As we go later on in this interview, remind me of one of the Monsters of Rock cruises, and I'll tell you a story about that. Going that same era, but I want to keep it in order.
So let's.
Yeah, so that was that. They do take very good care of themselves, and part of that is with me as well. I have to make sure they have X, and so we were at the Rock and Roll Fans Camp. They were I was more of a Damn Yankees fan than I was a Night Ranger fan.
Well, Jack, ding ding ding, Jack will like that statement. And you might get in a headlock with Kelly and Brad, but we'll give you opportunities to talk about them here in a bit. So you've got this relationship with Jack. Whenever they're around, you're going and seeing their shows. So how does it morph into, hey, here's Ed, I'm going to, thanks for getting me a ticket, I'm hanging out, to where they actually slap a radio on you or something and make you work.
So they get a new tour manager named Todd Confessor. And Todd Confessor is a legend at tour managing. I mean, he came from Prince, Trans-Siberian Orchestra, Poison. I mean, a litany of places. Mm-hmm. I can't even name them all. Those were the most recent at that time. And Todd kind of changed their touring mentality with management and started creating the rig and the mantra of how they travel today to this point. And so, hey, Todd, nice to meet you. And he's Italian, I'm Italian. We both talk with our hands and we're done, right? We're best friends. So Todd's like, hey, can you run down the hall and tell this? Or, hey, can you run down and do that? And all of a sudden, I'm Todd's unofficial tour assistant, and a couple of shows later, like you said, I've got an all access pass. A couple of shows later, I'm wearing a radio, and you always wear a belt with the radio is Todd's number one rule. So now all of a sudden I'm greeting the band at the hotel with the runner and bringing them back, and I'm helping with meet and greets, and I'm 1, 2, 3, smile, click, okay, next please, and all of a sudden it's like it's becoming kind of not of a joke, but like, oh, Eddie's here, Todd's assistant's here, that kind of thing. And then it's like M3 Festival. Hey, Eddie, any chance you can come down? Well, I was planning on coming anyways. Mike lives in Baltimore. He's like, I could really use some help. We're headlining day 2. With these festivals, it gets kind of squirrely. And then I start learning about like how Todd settled the show and like the innards of touring. Because it's not all like, oh, there they are on stage. Yeah, okay, head the horns, and we get off the stage, the lighter, and go. It's like you said before, it is a litany of things that happen from 3 weeks out to the day of the show at 9 a.m. till the breakdown at 11 p.m., and then, Todd's like, hey, we're going on this cruise, and you and your wife go on cruises a lot, and can you help me? You want to come on it with us? And I'm like, sure. And then all of a sudden I'm like working security with the security guys and figuring out paths of, so that the fans can't see us in certain areas and this, that, and the other. So he really kind of taught this chef that owns a restaurant the rock and roll business and gave me a big bubble over it and showed me, about this and that. And this is how this goes and the accounting here and, how you got to schmooze this one to get this one. And so it was cool just hearing it from a guy that's done it since he was 18 years old. Mm-hmm. Until he passed, and he was 51, I believe, when he passed.
He passed February of 2019, correct?
Yes, February 5th, I believe it was.
Talk about that day a little bit. How you learned of his passing and how it changed your role in the Night Ranger world.
It was 9:18 Cleveland time. And my phone rings, and it's James. Now, mind you, I'm thinking he's got a cruise question because we're leaving for the cruise in 2 weeks.
Now,
so I'm like,
Now, James.
James, I'm sorry.
Yeah, James is the Night Ranger business manager, I guess, however
Band
you want.
manager, right.
Yeah. Also, most of you know, but also Jack's son. But he is the business manager for Night Ranger.
Correct. So I'm like, hey, buddy, what's up? And he's like, hey, Ed, Todd passed. And I'm like, I literally looked at my phone and was like, and everybody's reaction. What did you just say? And it turns out he got a call from New York. He called me first because they had a show in Milwaukee that next day, and they're all traveling that day. This is 9:00 my time, and I've got to get to the last words he said was, I need you in Milwaukee. Can you pull it off? And I'm like, yeah, I'll make it work. He's like, you got 5 hours to get there. Wow. So I'm like, he's like, here's our number to travel. The travel people that called me right away. Okay, we can get you on a 12:00 flight. Can you get there? Yeah, no problem. And I had them book my assistant as well because I just didn't know what was coming my way. So my assistant and I call her. I'm like, we got to go. Todd died, blah, blah, blah. She knew Todd. And I ran home, I was literally running around the house like a cartoon character, throwing things, looking for stuff. And I just didn't know what I was walking into. So that's why she came with me, just to make sure I was good. And if I can just put her in front of a computer and be like, print this out, write this, Yeah. So I actually knew first before anybody else did. And then he started going down the road. So I arrived in Milwaukee ahead of everybody. And it was just, he made such an impact on that team. And he was so driven to make Night Ranger a household name again, if it hadn't been already. He took it to the next level. And his personality and his presence was just, when I go out to a show now, they're like, oh, Todd, we knew Todd, Todd was, this and that, and just all these positive things. And he was, I would say his mantra would have been like fair but firm. He was very respectful, but you had to respect the Night Ranger way, and he respected you in your house. In other words, to the promoters or the people there. But he was very black and white, and I want this and this and this, because he had a reputation and he upheld it, and it was an amazing experience the time I got to spend with him. So now you're walking into a show with 12 guys and Todd's not there.
Yeah.
The first thing I did was I set up Todd's desk in his chair and put his pen and paper down and put his cup there with his pens in his all his little thing, and put it in the corner. And it was good because everybody needed to see that, because they had to, like, what I mean? Everybody has their own way of grieving. Yeah. And all I could say was, look, I'm just here to guide you guys, but I'm gonna need some guidance as well. So we pulled off 2 shows, and then we had 2 more shows, and now instead of my wife and I going on a cruise and helping Todd, I'm responsible for 24 people, which it was fun. I could do it. I take tour managing like my restaurant business at that time. It's like doing a catering event. You have to meet with the client. You have to talk about it. You have to plan it out. And I'm a Virgo, so I plan everything out. I have a list for everything and timelines for everything. So I had a timeline for my own wedding, and we were 2 hours ahead of schedule. So that was good. But yeah, so we went on a cruise, and fortunately, I know the cruise industry, and we went on Royal Caribbean, so I'm a Royal Caribbean fan, so it was like easy, and I had to flash my credentials a few times to get things done, but got 24 people on, through customs, checked in, everybody in their rooms, and set sailed for a Monsters of Rock tour. Going back to that story about playing, so we played the first night, and I'm not going to say who said it, but a couple of bands were like, great, we got to follow that the rest of the week. So that high driving rock and roll Night Ranger sound just continued in their worst time of their life, when the guy that for 10 years that guided them passed away. And
it might be even it might be a good thing that they did have a show that night and that weekend, because sometimes the worst thing to happen is to be idle during that time. And you guys all had each other there
Correct.
to lean on, just like you said you needed.
And I think, and they've told me many times, everybody from the crew to the band, like, we're just so fortunate that Todd showed you the ways. And it was, there was a hiccups as we go, you know,
Sure.
and I've ironed them out and whatnot, but it could have just been Joe Schmo coming out on the road that doesn't know anything, you know,
well,
and didn't know their personalities or didn't know their needs. And so it was a
good continuity.
it was a good match.
Yeah. And they didn't have time to think about anything.
And
They
I
had
tell
to
you
go right
what,
to that
I
show.
don't know if you ever seen on YouTube when the night he did, the first night we played after he did die, they dedicated Goodbye, and Jack had a great speech on stage, and it was moving. I mean, we all were just sitting there wiping all the crew on the side there, and it was a good thing.
When we interviewed Joel and especially Eric Levy, Eric Levy, the current keyboard player for Night Ranger, they both paid great tributes to Todd. Tell us a good Todd story that really, maybe just a funny one that sums up Todd really well that you can tell us. Shows us a little bit of who he was.
Gosh, anybody that's going to watch this and go, oh boy, you can't tell that story. Oh, you can't tell that story. A great Todd story, I guess. Okay, so I wasn't there, but I saw the after effects of it. So Todd never really wore shorts too well and too much, but he was a huge Batman fan. I mean, over the top.
Yeah.
I took this from his production case. And it's in my
awesome.
Yeah.
And so he had Crocs made with the Batman logo on it. And so I guess they were in either Hawaii or Punta Cana or something like that. And Todd comes down in like clam digger shorts and these Crocs with Batman on them. And everybody just stopped. It was like, oh my gosh, Todd's in shorts and he's got Batman Crocs. So that's a funny story. Gosh. He just cared.
Yeah.
I don't have a funny story, but we played in Cleveland and my kids were at the restaurant and they all came to eat, and Todd came a couple of days earlier like he always did. And I mean, him and Mia, my daughter, were having fun together, and he put her pink earphones on, or ear muffs on, and just was walking around the whole restaurant and the complex with these pink earmuffs on and didn't care about what anybody said, and was walking hand in hand with Mia and Dean. And it's just, he just made an impact everywhere he went. Unfortunately, I didn't know Todd every day. I knew him as Todd, a Night Ranger world. But, he just ran a tight ship. He was fair but firm. And when he came in the room, people knew he was in the room. His presence was overwhelming.
Eric had told us
everything because he taught me probably almost everything he knew as far as, the innards of the rock and roll touring world. So it was an easier transition than it was having Joe Schmo come in and worry about the temperature outside or what time the sunrise came, because that wasn't part of their world,
Yeah, Eric had told us a story about when Joel left. That Todd came up to him and said, "Okay, well, your number is now, I guess, I don't know, 1 through 5. You're now 4." He's like, "But I want to stay 5." Because you can't be 5. You're not the newest guy anymore. Is there something about that? Do you know anything about that?
Those are just our codes for all things Night Ranger and bags and security and all that.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't remember exactly.
He made Eric change to number 4, and that's what I pressed Eric, joking around. I'm like, well, who's number 1? Yeah. And Eric's like, well, but so you're
who's number 0? Who's number 00?
Well, number 1.
16?
Me.
Number 1 is actually probably if I know anything about the inner workings of anything, number 1 is probably Molly Blade. She
Oh, good answer. Well, end that conversation right there. Good answer.
There
you go. So you're helping the band out again at this time. You're running your own restaurant, but you're also helping out the band. How does it go from something that you're just helping out to, okay, we want you to stay on permanently?
They brought somebody else in just to say, somebody that was in the industry. It didn't last. And I got a phone call. I told them, look, if this doesn't work out, I'm still always here for you guys. And sure enough, hey, we need you.
Fantastic.
So came out and I just started working it. And I finally said to James, hey, I think I want to stay. And what about the restaurant? Well, that runs itself right now. And we'll see what happens from there.
See, this could be a Rockstar Part 2 movie.
Yeah.
The management,
Yeah, exactly.
It really could. It's really cool. It's a great story.
I know. So let's figure it out. And,
okay.
So at that point, I just think there was a lot of uneasiness because I wasn't there, and Todd's ghost wasn't there. You know what I mean? Like Todd's Yoda,
yeah.
Luke Skywalker kind of thing. And then came back, and between all of them, hey Eddie, I'm glad you're back. Hey Eddie, I'm glad you're back. And a couple of them were even more overjoyous about it and stuff. So I just started leaning more on Carl and Howard as far as in my crew, because they were both road managers at one time or tour managers. And as we went along, and then leaning on James sometimes, and the communication was very well between the four of us. And now it's the point where I'm comfortable running the show without a problem. And it's, again, it really, if you look at it as it's my restaurant on wheels and restaurant on the road, because it's a business, and I act like it's my business, whether it was at my restaurant or on the road. And I treat it like that, and I have communication with all my guys, and I make sure they're all in a good spot, and just communication. And if I was Jack, how would I want it done?
Yeah.
If I was Brad, how would I want it done? If I was Kelly, how would I want it done? If I have a question about something I can't get an answer, that's how I think about it.
Okay. So take us a little bit through, your responsibilities as a tour manager, maybe like your typical day or your typical run up to, let's say, a week, a Friday night show.
Well, ultimately, first and foremost, the safety and the security of the crew and band is my ultimate objective, no matter what. Usually a month out, I book airfare, or if I have to worry about hotels, the same thing. 3 weeks out, Howard and I will get on a phone call with the tour production man at the venue, and go through in advance. And it's basically talking about the day, the time, what time the band eats, what time the crew eats, what time the crew eats dinner, what time are doors, what time is the opening act need to be on stage, what time do we clear, so it's a timeline from the time we leave the hotel.
Basically, you're creating.
Look at that. Yes, sir.
You're, basically it's something.
Who did you steal that from?
You hold it back.
Well, I got a few. This one I think came from John Haynes. He donated this.
Friend of the page. He's a great guy.
I know John very well. Him and I are canine handlers together. I have here somewhere. So
for those that don't know, you basically will have, you'll organize a lobby call. Basically, everybody to get their asses out of the room and get down to the lobby of the hotel. You got a load in, which basically all your equipment in. Right. You got lunch, sound check, time to get the stage cleared, dinner. It gives you information on who's all supporting the band, and so that's basically what you're doing with Howard. Howard is the individual that runs the monitors and the kind of a production.
He's our production manager. Yeah.
So that's what Ed's talking about creating is basically a timeline of what the day will be like for your Night Ranger show. So, so you said a couple weeks out, you're arranging that,
right? And then the week of, just make sure I talk to the sales manager at the hotel, again the production manager at the venue. Howard and I talk. I make sure that our merchandise people know what's going on, and then Carl is our front of the house engineer. He does all the kind of after show stuff, so he's involved at that point as well. So that's kind of the overall view of everything. You know, it's sometimes it's time consuming because of flights, making sure everybody's good with their flight, and if they have any previous appointments, they have to make sure they work around and all that.
Okay. So, so let's talk a little bit about the rest of the crew who are there to help put on these Night Ranger concerts.
Sure.
We'll start with Rich. Tell us a little bit about Rich.
Rich is our drum tech, amazing drummer. Matter of fact, he did fill in a little bit when Kelly had his heart procedure. He actually played for Andrew WK. He was their drum tech.
Did he?
Became their drummer. So Rich is very much head on a swivel. He's I believe he's a former Navy corpsman back in the day, through the Desert Storm worlds and all that. And you see a lot of that, a lot of those parameters in his everyday world. He's always got my back as far as, hey, Eddie, just I noticed this or that, and always sees things before sometimes I even see him on stage, or him and Howard talk, and hey, Eddie, watch, might want to squash this or look at that and this, that, and the other. So a phenomenal technician. He's a phenomenal teacher. And I play drums and I think I'm okay, but man, I watch him and it's like a virtuoso, you know, and how and he restores drums too. He does a great job. So anybody out there that needs a set restored, or he just his whole world revolves around the drum world and the music world. Does a lot of studio work for bands, for major acts across the country as well.
What about you mentioned Carl? Talk to us a little bit about Carl's
Carl. Carl is like my backbone. Him and Howard. If I got a question, I go to those two. Carl's been in the industry for over 40 years. The bands that he's worked for are just endless, from Cinderella to who is, oh my gosh, I just drew a total blank. I made myself look like a fool.
We do it all the time. Don't worry about it.
Damn. Who is it?
Make it up. Air Supply.
No, I can't remember. I'll figure it out in a minute.
Willie Nelson.
But anyways, I mean, the litany of bands he's worked for is endless. Prince. I mean, him and Todd were like tight. They were together, and at one point Carl was the tour manager, and before Todd was, and he worked for Todd, or Todd worked for him. I mean, so Carl is our front of house engineer. I've never heard Night Ranger sound so good at this point in their career. The thunderous bass that he produces is amazing. And there's sometimes that the owners of the venue get a little worried about their equipment, and it's not that he's abusing it. He's just pushing it to the max, and can you turn it down a little? And he's got that big decibel thing, said it's not at the decibel level yet. And he goes, that's just how I mix. And he's truly he's probably the sixth artist on the band, because he has to create what you all see or hear. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And that's, the one thing is there's no YouTube clip out there of Night Ranger having a bad night. You can find YouTube clips of probably a lot of bands and hear them having an off night or something like that, but you never hear of, there's nothing out there of Night Ranger like, okay, they were off that night. You never have to defend that with that band, because they are always on. And that's part of the curtain is part of that is because of the work you guys and Carl does. Tell us a little bit about Ryan.
Ryan is our guitar tech. He plays in a metal band. I don't know what that's called because I don't follow that world, but he's been in the band for quite a long time, and you just see his ability to manipulate all things guitar, and to have to maintain Bubba. You know what Bubba is, right?
Yeah.
Guitar one, and then Carrie's rig as well. I mean, the sound that those guys create starts with him, making sure all the Floyds are good, all the pickups are good, I don't know anything about a guitar. The whammy bar is good.
Well, for those that don't know, explain what Bubba is.
Bubba is Brad's number one guitar, the original Bubba. So it's custom built. with Brad and with the guitar manufacturers, and it's an epic design that's probably literally one of a kind.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even like, hey, get my guitar. It's always, where's Bubba? You know, Eddie, can you get me Bubba? Okay.
What's the name for number 2? Number 2?
Yeah, there is no number.
Give me that Fender.
The Les Paul guy.
You've mentioned him a few times. Let's talk about Howard.
Howard is he is our production manager. He is also our monitor engineer, and everything that runs through that sound outside of Carl runs through Howard. And he sets the stage. The stage plot is the stage plot, but he's in charge of the stage. He's more or less that stage manager / production manager, and him and I kind of talk probably 3 times a week. Mm-hmm. Just got this one, we're good. How we on the bus? We got an extra driver. I got to make sure that guy has a hotel room, and they sleep different hours, and boom, boom, boom. Make sure they're here. Make sure they're there. Hey, how about this? Did you worry about this? Do we need to buy that new piece of equipment? Are we okay on this? And it's just as you remember things or write notes down. He writes notes down, and we usually try to talk. Him and I control home base from 1 hour out. From when the show starts.
And finally, Steve.
Steve is our lighting director, so he has really added he's the newest member outside of me, obviously, but Ryan was. So Steve added a whole nother level of technology to the band, whether it's iMag on the LED board, whether it's hazers coming out of the risers, whether it's different movers, and he just added a whole nother level to that show. And he controls all video and lighting. He also was a keyboard player back in the day for bands. And so he kind of sets the keyboards up, and we're basically a big team that can intermingle between each other. Rich has got his drums, Ryan's got his guitar, and then Steve and Carl kind of assist on all things audio and keyboards. And then they start manipulating the lights and sounds and actions. And so he has a lot of creativity. Him and Brad talk a lot. Mm-hmm. Him and Carrie talk a lot. And then they come up with some new ideas. Steve's also a construction ace. So God forbid something goes south, he can make it happen again.
Good. That's good.
So it's just interesting to where, I think, obviously people have somewhat of an idea that it's not just the 5 guys on stage making this show happen, but it definitely shows just how much goes into just getting that band on stage.
There's some days we have like an 8:00 lobby call for an 8:30 load in, and they don't get done until 11 o'clock at night when that show's over, and then it's an hour to load up the truck. So it's a long day. There's breaks in between, and there's time to relax and all that, and I try to make it as comfortable as possible. So, but yeah, it's a long day.
Yeah, and it just shows, it gives us a new appreciation. I knew, kind of everything that went on, but it's, just hearing your story gives you a new appreciation of what goes on.
And there's a lot more that goes on that I just can't share because, again, safety and security of the band.
Oh, sure.
Staff, but it's a full-time job, and it doesn't stop at show day. It doesn't, it begins in the beginning of the month, or we have Houston. When is it? The 8th of May. I booked flights on April 5th, and I advanced the show April 12th, and hotels were on the 19th, and so.
Yeah, and so it's just great hearing, basically getting to know some of these team members who previously probably weren't known to most of us Night Ranger fans, and it is a team, like you've said. It's just everybody relying on each other to put on that show that we all. I think that's one thing that draws all of us to Night Ranger. Obviously the songs, but what has kept a lot of us there is that live show, that energy. You just can't go to a Night Ranger show and not have fun and not recapture your youth and just everybody there singing the songs. It's the perfect storm.
Right.
And I think that's what keeps a lot of fans there is, is the live shows have and still are great. They're
Right.
just one of the best live bands out there, and you guys, are the foundation of those shows being great. So Ed, we've been talking, about we've talked some about you growing up with the family business and the funeral home, and your brothers running that while you were doing the restaurant business, and we've talked some about Night Ranger's plans in 2021. Last year, your family went through a tragedy. Talk to us a little bit about that and what you guys have planned coming up this year in his honor.
So I have three brothers, and my brother Dan, middle brother, he died tragically in a car accident on September 24th of 2020, where a truck driver drove down I-480 with his bed up in the air and hit a sign, and the sign fell on my brother's truck, killed him immediately. So doing what we do every day in my family business, taking care of somebody at their worst time of their life,
Mm-hmm.
you're not prepared for that. And so no matter how many years and how many families we've taken care of, you're just not prepared for it. So it was I was actually in Phoenix when it happened, and I was on my way home as it was, but it just made it a longer fly across the country. So my family's always given back, and we're very supportive of our men and women in blue and red. And what we've done in the past is we bought canine vests for all the canine officers for Cleveland. So this year we're going to do a memorial concert on September 8th at Jacobs Pavilion in Cleveland. And our goal is to buy 4 first responder canine units for the Northeast Ohio area. Whether it be an arson dog for a fire department or a dual purpose police dogs for the police departments itself. Obviously, Night Ranger wants to be involved, so they are going to be the headliner for the show in Cleveland. A regional band, Boku, were big in the 80s. They were very good friends with my brother, so they've offered to play. And then actually my buddy Mike, who I've talked to in previously about his AC/DC tribute band called High Voltage, will open up the show.
Cool.
So that's what's going on. There'll be more information. I'll make sure I share it with you guys so you can share it on the Facebook page and whatnot, and on the podcast. And so it's something that we wanted to do. My brother loved music. He was a big influence on me with music, and the original Queen albums or the original Rush albums, ELO. I still got all those albums in the basement. So that was all part of him. And so we're going to do something to give back to the city and the area. And it's going to be a memorial concert in his name, and we'll do one every year. And every year it'll be a different cause. This year again will be that those 5 or 4 dogs is our goal to buy, with the proceeds from the concert and raffles and sponsorship.
Yeah. Well, and it goes to show just again how you guys have talked about the Night Ranger team being family, and that they're doing this to help honor your brother. And you said that's September 8th, 2020 in Cleveland, Ohio. 2020. What the hell?
Yeah.
Well,
it took you back for a minute.
Yeah.
It's infectious when you hear it, when you hear the story.
So, and it's at Jacobs Pavilion, which, if you've never been there, it's a great venue. It's outdoors.
On the river.
Yeah, right on the river. So you'll be watching the shows, and there'll be boats going, down the river behind you. And it's one of those places that it's a decent sized venue, but there's not a bad seat in the joint.
No. Very intimate. 4,000 to 5,000 people.
Yeah, I've seen.
Hopefully by then we can have all of them filled.
Yeah, I definitely going to be going. I've seen a few shows there. Seen Merle Haggard, and I've seen Papa Roach. Not on the same bill, but I have
Nice.
seen.
Are you sure? Yeah, are you sure?
Hey, you go to Coachella, you might see that. So.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is one of my favorite venues. So if you're thinking about going, number one, it's a great cause. Go there, support the Night Ranger family. And you said Dan, right? Was his name?
Yeah, Dan.
Good way to support his memory and support a good cause with the K9 units, and it's a great venue to see Night Rangers. So definitely something that I plan on attending, and hopefully a lot of.
And this is how impactful his death has become. One of the senators from the area took a bill to House Representatives in Ohio to get passed. It's called the Daniel Repepi Act, and it's to make more penalties stronger and more parameters on fail safes and alarms, so that these drivers know their bed's still up in the air.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where, it's just tragic, and I'm sure 1,000 questions of how something like that could happen, and then just it happening to you, something you just can never prepare for.
And like you said before, growing up in the industry, it makes you think differently. And I never thought about when your time is up, but I think now.
Yeah. Well, it's I've said there are people that I have known who have passed away young, and I've told their loved ones that they've done more in their 40 years than I've known people who are older who have done more in 60 years.
Right.
So, it's sometimes, the, what you've done while you're here and making an impact, kind of like Todd.
No doubt.
Everyone we talk to talks about the impact he's had.
Can I ask a question real quick?
You may.
Ed, are you? Thank you very much, Josh. Are you going to be doing anything to, like you said, you're doing fundraising for the event? Are you going to do anything in Dan's name? For example, I can make a Dan Repepi logo if you want to sell guitar picks for $3 and put his name on it like that. Something. I mean, I'd be more than happy to do that for you.
We do have a logo, and we do have we will have a concert shirt for that day as well.
Okay.
So that's something we can do, but we can look at that. It's all about
all you got to do is
money cause. No, definitely.
Well, it'll definitely be something that we talk about on the Fans in Motion
Cool. I appreciate
Night Ranger tribute page.
I appreciate it.
And one good thing about the fan
community.
page, the fan page in the community is, with these shows kicking up, we've got members, everybody's meeting and taking photos. And what would be great is also, if you'd like, is, leading up to that show, if we could maybe, get a picture of him and a little story about him. And, so that everybody going to that tribute show, knows the story of why these people and these bands are wanting to pay tribute.
Right. Yeah, no, I'll get you some.
Yeah,
and the nice thing is too is you can make it a weekend and go to the Rock Hall and whatnot too. So that's open now. And
you can't go to the Hard Rock Cafe though.
No,
but
let's go to Cincinnati for that one.
So, and you can't see a championship football team or baseball team either. Well, you can't.
We have a good conversation here.
Well,
you might as well go after the name of the Indians' name now. They're going to change that to what, the Spiders, I hear.
But
that's one of the things I'm hearing.
You can't go to Cincinnati for that either. So I don't know why the hell I'm giving you shit.
Hey, the Reds are in first place right now.
We are. We have beat the Indians 2 times in the last 2 games. We'll see how it pans out today. So
they've already won the series for the weekend.
well,
So
we want to get the brooms out and go for the sweep. So
we're talking about Night Ranger and Truman.
well,
What's going on?
listen,
hey, Jack Blake sang the national anthem at the Riverfront Stadium here with Tommy Shaw one year.
Oh, nice.
So
did
you do that in Cleveland?
Wow.
Well, I don't know if you heard, but Fort Wayne, Indiana, was trying to get a professional NFL football team, and Cleveland got pissed because they were like, "Well, Fort Wayne gets one, we want one too."
Wow. He's just going at it.
Do
you realize who I am?
So,
Jack? Yeah, these guys in Fans Emotion. Wait. Yes, I do have a landline, by the way.
Same here.
So let me do this. Let me throw out a name and just tell me a fun story or a quirk or something that these guys who are on our records that we all enjoy. So what comes to mind when I mention the name Eric Levy?
The most underrated keyboard player in the industry.
Ding, that is correct.
Yes.
Eric's been a great guy for our page as well, and we like to call him our friend. But Eric is a good guy, and to kind of continue on with what you just said, we've had like Brandon Etheridge, who plays in some of the best Queen official tribute bands put together by Brian May. He's even said that Eric is one of the greatest keyboard players out there, and he filled in for Eric when Eric was having his first child back in 2012, and he's like, if I knew how good Eric was back then, I would have been way more nervous, but
Nice.
It was later on. So what about if I throw out this Yahoo's name? Let's throw out Kelly Kagi.
One of the hardest hitting drummers of all time.
Well, that's why they call him Boom Boom.
Boy, if you'd see his sticks, man, after a show, it's ridiculous. And honestly, probably so sincere, it's his weakness, I mean, just caring dude, man. And to know that, he's the voice behind Sister Christian's pretty epic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's amazing sometimes, because me and Brent, and being big fans, we've met a lot of these musicians that we've grown up listening to, and meeting Kelly through this podcast and website was amazed, really kind of like how down to earth he was, especially being in that business for 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
And just Kelly's been great to us and really down to earth, and has really helped us out a lot as well. What about let's do Mr. Brad Gillis,
the whammy bar king.
Exactly.
He's such a technician outside of the stage, and he's always reading and always creating. And I don't know if I'd ever want to get in a fight with him, but if I was in a fight, I think I'd want him there first. I don't know. I never heard stories or anything like that, but I just think that he would be the one that would freak out,
Yeah.
I mean, dude still got guns, man. I was just like, damn, Brad, where'd those come from? He's like,
and he's quite funny too at times.
He's very quiet at times, but when he says something, it cracks you up.
Yeah.
Let's go with the new guy, Mr. Carrie Kelly.
Very creative, a innovator behind the scenes, and he also owns restaurants. So him and I have a shared there,
Aces and Nails.
Aces and Nails. So we constantly talk about things, and probably knows every small batch brewery in the country and knows somebody that works there. And dude, like I'll get like shipments like we're in Podunk, Iowa, and I'll be like, "Where'd this come from?" "Oh, dude, I know the owner, and he's got a great brew." And I'm like, "Okay, here you go." You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's easier, I tell people, to name the 3 bands he was never in than to name the bands that he's been in. He's
like a jukebox.
Yeah.
He's like literally.
He's got a hell of a resume.
Yeah, I know. And sometimes you see it on the show. You know, they'll start playing. They'll tease like everybody about Welcome to the Jungle or something like that, and we're not playing that. So, it was pretty cool. But yeah, he's an innovator and definitely a big asset to the band.
Let's talk about someone who is I would say he's probably pretty important to the band. Let's talk about Mr. Jack Blades.
Wow. Jack is nonstop. He's a perfectionist. He is respectful, but yet holds people accountable. And he took a chance on me, and I think I'm doing okay for him. So that's a good start for me. But his writing skills, I think, are in the top 10. And I come from a drummer guy, but it just to hear his philosophies and his intelligence is just over the top. I love when they all just start reading, and you'll see him zone out on the bus, and they'll just it's cool that you can read something and talk about it the next day, and you just get educated by him, or you can respond back to them as well. So,
you pretty much have every Night Ranger fan's dream job. You know that, right?
Yeah, it can get hectic though. You got to put it out once in a while, and you got to realize, what's in front of you.
Mm-hmm. So,
I like Brent's idea about a movie though. That's you can move with.
So what does 2021 and beyond hold for you? What's going on in the world of Ed?
I sold the restaurant, so I'm full boat into it, and I would say I keep looking over here because I have a giant calendar with everything on it, and I would say third quarter and fourth quarter people should be a lot happier.
Good.
For what's coming on the pipeline. Plus a new album. And we just shot a music video and some new photos done. Mm-hmm. And the one song's got a pretty good hook to it. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I'll tell you much more than that.
Yeah, Kelly played a couple for us, just segments of them.
Wow.
But he wouldn't tell us the names of them.
No.
Yeah,
and we weren't allowed to discuss them.
We're not allowed to. We weren't allowed to. But we were allowed to say that we heard them.
Yeah.
And we were allowed to say that they were awesome, and they were. I told people that it's what you want. It's Night Ranger, and
the dual guitars, the harmonies, the hard driving.
Yep. So I've been telling people 2021 is going to be a good year in the world of Night Ranger, and we've been lucky as fans to really have like the last 10 years, but of such a great time for the band, and 2021 is going to be, I think, a good year as well, with a new record and shows kicking back up. And
it's unfortunate that we're not having meet and greets right now, but that's for the safety of everybody. But don't be afraid to just yell somebody's name out or wave when we're waiting for the show, or just to say hi. I'm part of Fans in Motion. I'll acknowledge it. I'll say hi to you.
Definitely let them know that you're in. If you meet Ed, two things. Number one, pronounce his last name correctly. If you want to call me, I will do the exercise with you. And
if you want to get it right, you call me.
And let them know that Fans in Motion is the greatest thing in the world since sliced bread. Tell us a good Night Ranger. Yes, is huge in the United States. I mean, it's. I think when you talk, like if you talk to Grandma, she will talk about apple pie, and then right after that, Night Ranger. That it's Americana. But talk to us about how big Night Ranger is in Japan, and tell us a good Japanese, a good Japan story of you guys being there.
So I was lucky enough to go to Japan last year. No, was that 19? Let's think about this. 19, October of 19, right?
That is correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had to think about that. I mean, this whole 2020 world.
That's when the Dawn of the Madness was going on.
Yes. Yep. And so, they all told me about how big they were, how the Japanese fans are so loyal and animated and dedicated. And I'm like, well, come on. I'm from Cleveland, rock and roll capital world. I know what a sing along is like, right? So we get there, and my wife and I go separately. Everybody kind of traveled, some groups, some pods, and then some separately. And so we flew separately, and we land, and Tak, who was my production manager out there, picks us up and takes us into town, and I get to the hotel, and I'm like, what are all these people doing here? He's like, oh, you've never been here with Night Ranger, huh? I'm like, nope. I keep looking around, and like right away, my security world kicks into gear, and I'm like, all right, who's this guy? Why is this guy following? But they're most respectful people. They really were. They were so respectful. And so we get in the hotel, we check in, go do our thing, and the hotel realizes these people are here, and it's kind of like they're accepting it, but they know to keep their distance and all that. So go check in, get situated. That first night we just kind of got used to the area, and my wife and I never been there before, so we just checked it out. And I can eat sushi, but I can't eat sushi, if you know what I mean. Like, it's got to be shrimp and crab, and that's about my limit, and she'll eat the raw stuff and the crazy stuff and all that. So I'm like, we go to the restaurant in the hotel, and all the guys are like, hey, we're gonna go get sushi. I'm like, all right, I'll get sushi with you. I get down there, and I'm like, you got a California roll? And they're like, nope. And I was like, shit, so I suffered through a little bit of something, whatever was cooked.
You're a better man than I am.
And I get back to the room. I looked at my wife, and I'm like, I'm hungry. I need something. So where the hell did I go my first day in Japan?
McDonald's.
You got it.
Boom.
We walked down the street. I'm like, hey, there's a McDonald's. She's like, are you serious? You're a chef. You own restaurants. You're in Japan, and you're eating McDonald's. And I'm like,
yep.
Order pounder with cheese. Thank you very much.
Did it taste exactly the same?
Yes, it actually tasted better.
Did it?
Yeah.
So I know they're the different qualities or the different rules for different countries,
Yeah. But no, it was very good actually, and they do have Starbucks, but they don't have Splenda there. In case anybody goes there, you bring your own Splenda. So that was just a quick one, but again, Japan. I mean, these fans would wait 15 hours a day just to get a second with them, or an autograph, or a glimpse of them, and I felt bad for them, but it's just part of the culture. And they start recognizing people. So we're going to a tour the next day. We have off, and so my wife and I get a car service to take us on a tour, and we're coming down the elevator, and they can see us in the elevator. Well, everybody starts getting ready and thinking that Jack's right behind me, or Kelly, or Brad, or somebody, and it's just us. And they're like, I'm like, sorry guys, And so that night we went to a brewery. Go figure. A friend of Kelly's set up a pre-party, and we pull up in these like Mercedes Sprinters, or kind of Sprinter vans, and they're like, Ed, why don't you check out what's going on just to make sure we're good to go. Little did I know I was being set up. So I walk into the bar, the restaurant kind of thing, and it's literally like a fire inspector's worst nightmare. I mean, it is like this, right? And I walk in, and they all go, Eddie-san! And it scared the hell out of me, because I'm the new dude. I've never been to Japan, and these cats know my name,
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm like a deer in the headlights. I'm like, all right, I'll be back. And I walk out, and I walk in the van, and they're cracking up laughing. I'm like, you bastards, like, do you know what's in there for you? And they're like, oh yeah, we're aware of it. So Steve and Rich are, part of our team. They're 6'4", 300 pounds each. Well, Steve's probably 250 now, but they're big dudes. I'm like, all right, Rich, you're first. Steve, you're last. Everyone else is in the middle. Let's go. And I mean, it literally, I had to, like, my wife got caught and scooped up. I had to grab her by the arm and pull her up, get with us and everything. And I'm literally like hovering over Jack, and and it just we had to get them to the table, but I got set up. It was a fun thing, but like they knew my name, and I was like, "Ooh, I wasn't ready for that one," So
That's great.
I walked back outside, and I'm like, and they're cracking up laughing. And I was like, "You bastards," So it was just listen to all of the Japanese and to all of our fans. God bless. I mean, thank you for all the support and whatnot, the respect, the enthusiasm, and all that. But it was a memorable experience on how much they dance, they sing, they chant. It's all choreographed. It's just an amazing experience in Japan.
And we have a lot of these Japanese fans on the page, and it opens up literally a new world, because you get to see their collections, which are different.
Oh God, they got Brad's guitars over there.
Oh, yes. Amazing what they do.
And I mean, they've taught me. I've been able to learn about, I collect, vinyl. So they've shown me, how to find the promotional copies of the vinyl. And what's interesting is like the vinyl here is stamped promo, and what you consider a promo their stamp actually translates to sample. So just little things like that we've learned from them. And, with you being on this, Fans in Motion Ultimate Night Ranger podcast, and the reach and the power that we have, I predict the next time you're in that elevator and they are picking up their shit and rushing over to the elevator,
they're coming for you.
They will be coming for you, and they will not be disappointed. And
it was a great experience. I loved every minute of it. I can't wait to go back there again. With the new album, you never know where that goes. Mm-hmm. But it was to see the culture of how they act as a society and how they act as a music industry it was happiness. It really was, considering what we're going through. I hate using that cliche, where we're at today and all that, but it was truly mind-blowing in how they rock there.
Yeah. And when you buy Japanese vinyl, it can be 35 years old, and it's still in pristine condition. Like
they take care of it.
All the Japanese vinyl is always,
everything I saw there, everything they laid out, how creative they get and everything, and it's like, holy moly,
Yeah, if I buy like vinyl from Argentina, like I'm pretty sure when they bought it, they just hooked it with a chain to the back of their bicycle and just dragged it home. It's just amazing.
And I heard.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Finish your thing.
Just to see, like, and then hear the stories how like they were when they were back in the heyday, and when they were coming up as Night Ranger, and they would have to run to the elevators, and they have to run to the bus, and they'd be shaking the bus, and so it's cool to hear that, because you appreciate all their hard work. But go ahead.
Well, when Don't Let Up came out and they were getting ready to go to Japan, I heard an interview with Jack, and he said the great thing about Japan is they know the new record. We got to learn like 5 songs off the record to play over there. And God, I wish we had that here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We'll be lucky to get 1 or 2 songs off the album, and then it's gone.
Yeah. And they want to hear the hits, so you pay hits.
And Japan's always been important in Night Ranger's history. I mean,
yes.
You have the professionally filmed Midnight Madness show from Japan. You obviously have Japan in Motion, Live in Japan, came out in 1990 from the Man in Motion tour.
I know one of Jack's stories is that they made dolls for them. Like that's when they knew they made it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we've seen some photos, or maybe that's in a video or something. And you've had the Live in Japan '97 record, Rock in Shibuya 2007. So Japan's played a big part in Night Ranger's history. So Ed, what haven't we talked about? Tell us, what have we missed? There's got to be something. What is it?
Wow.
He's going to post pictures of you outside the venue. Don't let this guy in.
Yeah, we have a few of those. Don't worry. Not of him, but we have a few of those.
Do they actually work?
Yeah,
I guess you have to say the yes.
Yeah, no, it does. I mean, our security meetings are pretty detailed, and I learned that from Todd, and other world is I'm a contractor for the government for my canine dog. I have a cadaver dog, so I'm still always thinking of that world at all times. So
So yeah, so now at least you'll know a little bit of my personal background when you see me climbing the chain link fence. Going,
Yeah, because the first time I
just
saw
want
this
to meet
link, I was like,
Brad.
"Are these crazy MFers, man?"
Well,
but now you're not, so you guys are cool.
Yeah.
Well, give us
We're-
time. Give us time. We'll show you we're crazy.
Great.
You know, when you see me rushing towards the elevator door.
See, the reason we didn't have Andy on today because Andy was going to say our goal is to do a live podcast before a Night Ranger concert. Totally joking.
Which, well, you know what is great about this page is Eric has, posted great pictures, and people have posted, like at SeaWorld, we got to hear sound check.
Yeah.
And that's what I look forward to this page is, people, on the page. Hopefully we can get, people involved with the band, just showing us, behind the scenes stuff that the fans really enjoy. And I hope to be able to go to a show and, be able to, put a live video up of them playing Sentimental Street. So while they're in Ohio playing, people in California can sit there and, just be able to enjoy a song or two.
Especially now, because you're jonesing for a live concert,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I can tell you, when we've played, people have been respectful about the pandemic and whatnot. People have tried to social distance. I think the music just comes to their blood, and they just can't hang on anymore. They just start, ripping the mask off, and that's fine, whatever. But yeah, it's I think you can put one hit wonder of the world up, and it's going to sell out in 10 minutes. I do. And then it's cool to see people, and I know the guys love it, and the guys were jonesing to get out, and you see the excitement. You see excitement from everybody, from everybody, from the janitor to me, and it's just I know that even the biggest thing is the hands, the local guys. When they start pushing those wheels, you're like, do you hear that? And it makes you feel good that you be part of it.
And if you're a fan out there and you see Ed, or you see one of the the guys, Rich, Carl, any of those guys, say hi to them. Be respectful of what they're doing and they're working, but say hi to them and tell them that you appreciate the good job they're doing, and you know what, the thing about the page is everybody's is respectful. That's what's so great about the page is there's no negativity, and the Night Ranger community is great. And Ed, thank you for opening up another part of the world to the Night Ranger fans. And it's just, this is fun, and that's what it all boils down to is even though it is work for the band, and it is work for Ed, and us doing this podcast and keeping the page going, it's work, but at the end of the day, it's fun.
Yeah.
And that's what we always got to remember. And it's 2021, and we're all still talking Night Ranger and enjoying live shows.
It's been a great ride, and these guys really appreciate it. And I think they really do love the interaction of the fans. I mean, when they sing and they come off the stage, the first thing out of their mouth is, "Did you hear them?" And it's just like, and they recognize it, they see it, they hear it. They're professionals, you know what I mean? And it's unfortunately we're playing probably to half venues right now because of protocol, but we're playing. That's a huge step, but real quick, if I'll just touch base. So Houston on the 8th of May. Let's see here. We've got Sioux Falls, South Dakota on the 27th, Kearney on the 28th, and Boone, Iowa on the 29th.
That's all the same weekend, right? That's like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yep.
Yeah. Filer, Idaho, and June 24th. M3 Festival has been moved to July 4th. I think they've already made that public, so I'm not saying shouldn't say. Clear Lake Ballroom, July 9th. Wabash, Indiana, July 10th. Wisconsin Dells, that just got added. That's confirmed on July 11th. And then Moondance Jam is confirmed for Walker, Minnesota, September 22nd. And then we play Kettering, Dayton, Ohio, on July 23rd.
I am there. That's only 50 miles away from me.
Yeah, that's the suburb of Dayton.
Okay, I will see you.
For some reason,
what venue is July 23rd for Dayton? Is that the
Phrase Pavilion?
Yep.
There you
Give
go.
me a second here. I think
that's a great place.
For some reason, I feel like somebody's with us on that.
You guys were scheduled to play July of 2020, and it was Night Ranger opening for Styx, and it got canceled. I had like third row seats, but
it is Night Ranger opening up for Styx. Confirmed.
All right.
Is it? Oh, you'll be in heaven then, won't you?
Say it again.
You'll be in heaven.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
unfortunately, they can't. I think they have a deal where they can't sing a couple of the songs, but they do a little montage, which is really cool. And being a drummer and Todd Zuckerman is just in another world. So that dude is ridiculous.
Well,
it's always fun seeing Tommy and Brad together, and their group, their family and our family are very tight. You know, the guys all know each other, and so that's a big thing there. And then Boozer City, Louisiana, on July 31st. Denver area, 6th and 7th, Loveland and Grand Junction. Couple private events that no one will be. Columbia, Illinois, St. Louis area, right around the corner from St. Louis. Gonzales, Louisiana is a big festival, September 25th. Albuquerque, New Mexico, October 9th. Somewhere near some big city in Tennessee. Hasn't been confirmed yet for 10/16.
Mm-hmm.
Prescott Valley, Arizona, October 12th. And that is with REO Speedwagon, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And then Las Vegas on October 13th. So anybody wants to get that, that's a hell of that's 3 hours away from each other. That's a nice little.
Yeah, there were people already on the page talking about going meeting up there.
Is that the one that's at Orleans?
Yes. Okay,
that's a rescheduled show from April.
Yeah, and it looks like here, REO Speedwagon is Prescott.
Okay.
So.
And September 8th, there's a show in Cleveland.
Yeah.
It's not on our CAA paperwork yet, but yes, September.
Yeah, I was like, he missed that one.
It's going to be a good show, Ed. I would really enjoy you being there if you could make the time.
That'd be fun. And again, make it a weekend out of it, and you go to the Rock Hall and see the real football team in Cleveland.
Well,
or in Ohio, I should say, the real football team in Ohio.
Well, I will give the Browns some credit. They beat Pittsburgh in the playoffs. They have made some good signings. They just signed Jadeveon Clowney. So
not sure about that one.
Well,
the college version of Jadeveon Clowney, not the last 4 years.
So we shall see. And one date on there that really sparked my interest, because I do, I am going to a show soon, and then I do have tickets for the Wabash, Indiana show, but the Clear Lake, Iowa. For those that don't know, the day the music died, Don McLean, that's the venue where Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper played the night, that they unfortunately were in the plane wreck and passed away. The venue is still there. It very much looks like it did back in whatever year that was, 1957? 59.
Sure.
But
you tell me stuff about Night Ranger. I'm like, that happened. I'm like, hey, if it came from your mouth, I guess it did. So whatever you see, it's great.
And so when I saw that, I'm like, okay, I'm going to make that, I think, a little vacation for me, where I'm going to get to Clear City, Iowa, then drive back to Wabash, and I'm not going to hit Wisconsin Dells, but I reckon I do like cheese and Lennenkugels though. But yeah, so
you can say Lennenkugel. You notice that? How did you say it?
Lennenkugel.
I don't even know what that is.
Well, wait a minute. Isn't Leinenkugel from Pittsburgh?
No, that's from Wisconsin. But I never
famous beer?
Iron City beer. Iron City beer.
Something else.
Oh, see, I thought it was a cheese you were talking about. I had
no
idea.
You might be talking about like Pottsville, Yingling.
Yingling, that's it.
Yeah. So no, and I never.
I did own a restaurant with a liquor license.
And when you're in West, you never. And I never. Leinenkugel, you always call it a Lenny. I mean, if you're local. So I spent a lot of time in the military up at Wisconsin. What the hell is that base? Volk Field up in Wisconsin. So drinking with all the locals, they're like, it's just a Lenny. So I just call it a Lenny. So F you, Brent, for the mispronunciation getting on me.
No, I said you could pronounce it. You know,
say my last name again.
Repepi.
Oh, he had to think about it, Brent.
Well, you know, and that would, like I said, I can't wait to run into you, and I'm going to start coming up with multiple ways to mispronounce it. And trust me, I will come up with some.
Yeah, we have a guy named
on that 1-800 customer service call. Hi, Mr. Repepi, can I help you?
We have a guy on the page named Dave Nadelman. Well, Josh pronounced it Nadalman.
Well, that was a joke.
Yeah, but no. Once upon a time, you did that the first time.
No, no, it was Chapin. His name's it's Chapin. I said Chapin instead of Chapin. Anyways,
Dave won a prize, and Josh's wise ass sends a prize to Dave, and he writes Dave Nadalman real big on the envelope.
I break it out and spell.
Gary, speaking of prizes, how about I surprise you guys with this? I'll send this to you, Josh.
What we got?
Holy crap!
Look at that. Now, for those that don't know, that is Brad Gillis. Look, and you know what's great is that gold signature goes.
Yes,
great
it is.
So I'll send you this. I have one.
We will do a contest for your episode.
How to spell my last name? No,
yeah. Well, you gotta post a video saying Ed's last name correctly. And the winner, the winner will get the prize. And that's one thing we do on the page, just like Brent was talking, is we always try to do. John Haynes, who's
I know John very well.
He's been great. He's donated. I don't know if I got anything left, but we just
donated a lot of stuff.
Things he's donated.
Huh?
I've probably given him most of those things he's donated.
Well, he got us a 7 Wishes record that he got signed at one of the shows, and he took a few pictures, sent that along with a few other things for us, and we've given those away to people listening to the podcast. And Eric, we've got people sign some stuff for us, and
this is limited edition, but you can't have it.
Tour staff. Is that a mask?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Now I'm teasing everybody now.
Yeah.
I'll stop grabbing stuff from my office here.
But yeah, so Ed,
that's the next episode. Yeah. What's around Ed's office?
Yeah.
He's just going to go.
Just take the camera off and
Green Lantern Blu-ray that nobody bought.
Actually, a great member of the page, Dwayne Vickers. Yes, John donated some of those. We given those away. Dwayne Vickers, who's a great member on the page.
I've seen him on a few meet and greets. Back when it was happening.
He donated this baggage tag.
Ooh, that's nice.
So he made that.
He's going to be at the Houston show. You may want to track him down. You may have some extras. But this is what we're giving away on the current episode of the podcast. But we give away guitar picks.
Like Sanford and Son. I got this. And I got.
I'm the only one that gets called dummy. How about 5 across your lip?
My office going, what else can I show these guys? Something intriguing. But...
See, that could be a segment. What's around Ed's office?
Oh, hey, wait, I got one.
Oh, here we go.
This is when I knew I made it. Hold on. My whole office is going to fall apart. The Japanese, the tour guide. The tour
that
book.
Is sweet.
Oh,
wait, now, hold on.
Okay, I've never even seen that.
No, I've never seen that.
Oh my God, I got one up on you guys.
Yeah, nice. I've never seen that. And I just asked Josh the other day if he had all the Japanese tour books.
It's my name, baby,
That's
there.
Sweet. That is sweet.
I know they do such a great job.
That is beautiful.
And it just Okay, let me brag some more. See all the pictures? Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Oh, I better hide this.
I know.
That is
I know
sweet.
when you're out of town.
Listen, if you
And then you're only about 2 hours away.
God bless you.
I'm gonna have to
What's
start.
it do with come with some steakums?
I'm gonna.
Oh, you don't know what that is. Trust me.
I'm gonna have
He knows
to.
Czechoslovakian, so he's not going to mix it, right?
I'm gonna have to come up with some poison stuff to start trading you.
I got some poison stuff to help you out.
Oh, yeah.
I was in poison.
Get rid of that.
I was working in a record store when Poison first came in when they were on Enigma Records. So I had the Enigma CD. So when I met them, God, when they were open for Rat, when they finally started breaking,
Right.
the guys were all impressed that I had the Enigma CD. And then I remember somebody from the radio station coming with a cheap ass like Sports Illustrated phone.
Yeah.
But it was a promotional phone that says "Talk Dirty to Me." They put a sticker on it.
Oh my God.
You know that Capitol had done.
Wow.
Yeah, it was cool being around those guys when they were breaking.
Well, gentlemen, I have to get on an airplane to travel to
Well-
parts unknown. No, I can't tell you.
Ed, thanks for coming on, and like I said, lifting the.
No, I hope I gave people kind of a different side of the world of Night Ranger, and
they
still kept it professional and safe.
Oh,
and
love
secure, so.
they
They'll
will
love you.
definitely enjoy it, and we will definitely try to get you back on somewhere down the road, and we'll just talk more Night Ranger, and you can give us all the good juicy stories about all the Night Ranger road stories. Ed,
I do that to the band because I might say something to get me fired.
well, you know what? That's that's what you'll have to do is we'll just get Ed fired, and then we can have him on, and he'll be able to tell us all the good stories.
Let me tell you what that bitch did.
I'll tell you who had bag
Yeah.
tag number 1. All right, Ed. Thank you very much, my friend, for joining us.
No problem. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun, and keep doing a good job. And it doesn't go unnoticed. Trust me.
There it is. Another great interview that I wasn't a part of. Thanks, guys, for fitting my schedule around your schedule. No, I know it wasn't you guys. It was me. It's always that way. But that was a fun interview, I'm sure. Hopefully there'll be another one.
And here's the thing is, if you guys go to the show and you see Ed or any of the other crew members, tell them hi, tell them they're doing a great job, give them their space, they're working, but let them know that you're appreciative of their hard work. So hopefully you guys enjoyed going behind the scenes a little bit. Ed's a great guy, and we hopefully can have him on the podcast again. I don't know what we'll talk about. Hell, maybe we'll have him rank Midnight Madness and get his incorrect.
Oh,
list.
yeah.
I told you, like we were doing, hey, let's see what's in Ed's office. What can Ed hold up? I'm telling you, Andy, that part was hysterical. Then he brings out this big picture. Have you ever guys seen this before? And I'm like, I had seen it before. Somebody posted on the page in the infancy of the page.
Yeah.
But it was a painting somebody had done of the band. It was really cool.
And then
That's
they
awesome.
had the tour book from
Japan.
like 2019. I was like, I've never seen that. It's like I told him,
Yeah.
when I know he's in, Saskatchewan for a tour, I'm going to jump into his office and get that tour book. But fun time, man. I'm glad that we were able to connect with him, and we got to thank Eric Levy. Eric Levy was, the liaison to Ed and got us hooked up with him. So again, Eric Levy, you're the best. Ed, thank you for coming on. Andy, take us out, man.
All right, everybody. Thanks again for watching. And remember, you can catch us if you're already watching this on YouTube. Tell a friend. Tell one person. Everybody watches this tells one person to go to Facebook. Find us on Facebook. Find us on Instagram. Check out all of our previous episodes and on wherever you get your podcast at. Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Pandora, wherever you get them. If everybody tells one person, this page will just keep growing and keep growing. That's all we're trying to do.
Or share it on other music pages that you're on.
Boom.
That's a great idea.
We want to be a tumor and spread.
Ooh.
It's not a tumor.
It is a tumor.
Not a tumor.
It is a tumor.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Give them the air.
You got what you want, Cohagen. Now give the people the air.
Ah, shit. Later.
We'll be back.